Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the series on the Amalgam Beast. So today we're going to be looking at the Amalgam Beast and the union with the lamb-like beast, and this is an unholy union. So we'll start this off by looking at the three beasts, Babylon, Media, Persia, and Greece. These are all described together. We'll read about that in Daniel 7:1. The first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head while he was on his bed. Then he wrote down the dream, telling the main facts. Daniel spoke, saying, I saw in a vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea, and four beasts came up from it, each different from the other. The first was like a lion, Babylon, and had eagle's wings. The second was like a bear, which was Media, Persia, and it said, Arise and devour much flesh. And after this I looked, and there was another like a leopard. This was Greece, which had on its back four wings of a bird. The beast also had four heads, and dominion was given over to it. And now we switch a little bit after the first three beasts, and we look at pagan and papal Rome, which was, again, separated out. It is a different beast from the others. And I believe that that has to do with the fact that, the union of church and state was so dramatic under Rome that it was a different kind of beast. And you've also got, the 10 horns coming together, all the various different peoples under one government, and you have the idea of the Pax Romana. And we read about that in Daniel 7:7. After this I saw in the night vision, behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, exceedingly strong. It had huge teeth. It was devouring, breaking in pieces, and trampling. That was during the 1260 years of persecution. And it was trampling the residue, the remnant, with its feet. It was different from all the beasts that before it. That's very, very important when we look at the Amalgam Beast. And it had 10 horns. Again, this is an alliance coming together, a bunch of diverse people coming together for one purpose. I was considering the horns, and there was another one, a little horn coming up from among them, before whom three of the first horns were plucked out by the roots. And there in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and the mouth speaking pompous words. And of course, this is the papacy. So let's now look a little bit about the Amalgam Beast. For those who studied the first study on this topic, it's, again, a little bit of a review. So we have the 10 horns. Those are the 10 nations or kingdoms which are united against Jesus. But the question has to be asked, where is the dreadful beast in this Amalgam Beast that we see? And other than the 10 horns there, the rest of the dreadful beast's attributes are missing. So that's a clue for us. So let's read about that in Revelation 13:1. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on its horns 10 crowns, and on its heads a blasphemous name. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. Okay, so we have Greece, and that's listed first. So that's going to be the primary attribute, Greece, which we talked about in the other study, which was higher learning. His feet like the feet of a bear, and so that pertains to Media, Persia. We've got the hierarchical structure, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. And we learned in the other study again that the mouth of the lion was pride. So we have these three elements that are combined, these three nations that make up the Amalgam Beast. The dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. So again, we have the first three beasts out of the four. They're united in this amalgam, but really the primary attributes of Rome are missing in this. And so the next section, let's look about the destruction of the dreadful beast, which was Rome, the last of the four beasts, in 1798. The other three beasts, they live on in Revelation 13. And I believe that the loss of temporal power, the combination of church and state, is really one of the main markers of the loss of Rome as the fourth beast power. So we read about that in Daniel 7:11. I watched then because of the sound of the pompous words which the horn was speaking. I watched till the beast was slain. Again, this is the fourth beast. This is Rome, both pagan and afterwards papal, and its body destroyed. It's gone. It's out of the picture and given to the burning flame. As for the rest of the beast, we still have Babylon, Medo-Persia, and Greece. They're part of the amalgam. They live on. They had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. Okay, so, and then Revelation 13:3, and I saw one of the heads that had been mortally wounded. Of course, this is talking primarily about the fourth beast. Again, that mixture of church and state. It was taken away in 1798 when the Pope was taken captive. That temporal power was taken away, and the church was only left there. And then also we read about the same section in Daniel 11:40. At the time of the end, the king of the south will attack him. And those were the atheistic forces that attacked the king of the north, the imitation king of the north, I might add, the papacy, and took away his temporal power. So that is a quick summation of that. Now let's look at the other part of Revelation 13, and that is the two-horned beast. And of course, that is the United States in prophecy. We have e pluribus unum. From many, you have one. And this is I believe, the reemergence of the dreadful beast, which is the anti-typical Rome, but in a different form. This is the last superpower of the world. It is going to reunite with the woman, and the woman is going to be riding the beast yet again, because prophetic lines always repeat, and so we are in that second phase now. Thus, we've got the dreadful beast. It's living on. It has another life, but it's not in the same form that it was shown. Now it is in the two-horned beast, which is part of this, and is joined in alliance with the Amalgam Beast, which is the papacy and ecumenical coalition that was formed with the United States back in 2015. And that's when the deadly wound was officially healed. So we read about that in Revelation 13:3, and his deadly wound was healed. The temporal power was restored, and now we've got church and state again united. And all the world marveled and followed the beast, so they worshiped the dragon who gave authority to the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him?" And then Revelation 13:11, then I saw another beast coming out of the earth. This is talking about the two-horned beast, the United States. This coming out of the earth, that's an unpopulated area as opposed to the waters where the original beast came up out of, which was Rome, and he had two horns. This is a tip here, two horns. All of the other beasts we're seeing were mostly one-horned. They were monarchy, but this is two horns, and I believe they are Protestantism and Republicanism. There was no king here after Britain was rebelled against. Like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. So this is very interesting. The United States, it is said that it is a Christian nation, but yet it speaks like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast, that's the amalgam, in his presence. So you've got the two beasts there together. We've got the amalgam beast working together with the two-horned beast, the United States, and causes the earth and all who dwell in them to worship the first beast, the amalgam beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Remember, that was one of the seven heads, the papacy, and that deadly wound was healed by the alliance between the amalgam beast and the remaining superpower in the world, the lamb-like beast. So, continuing in verse 13, he performs great signs so that even he makes fire come down from heaven in the sight of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image, a copy, to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lives. He was granted power to give breath. Here, Rome, in a lot of ways, is getting a second wind. It was dead, but now it's coming back to life. To the image of the beast, and to the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many who would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, so no man may buy or sell. This is economic sanctions, except one who has the mark, that's one characteristic, or the name, of the beast, that's 2, or the number of his name, that is 3. Babylon is always described in threes, so that's very important to note. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. And when we calculate that number out, we get Vicarius Filii Dei, of course, Vicar of the Son of God. And then let's go on and read a little bit about the Abomination of Desolation. And so we pick that up in Matthew 24:15. Therefore, when you shall see the abomination of desolation. So this is the two-horned beast. It is speaking like a dragon, spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place. Now, when we look at that word holy there, it actually is used in several sections, as we can see Acts 9:13, Romans 1:7, Hebrews 6:10, Revelation 5:8. It is used in reference to the Christians. So, put another way, standing in the Christian place. We have the abomination of desolation. We know who that is because that was set up in 508 as at the beginning of the 1290. That's from Daniel chapter 12. That is the papacy. When the abomination of desolation, the Pope, stands in the Christian place, then in verse 16, let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. The mountains are God and Christ. Again, it's a battle for your mind. Let him who is on the housetop not go down to take anything. This is works-based salvation out of the house. That the house is the church. And let him who is in the field not go back to get his clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant and those who are nursing babies in that day, and pray that your flight may not be winter or on the Sabbath. For then there will be a great tribulation, such as there's never been since the beginning of the world, until this time, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh will be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. So we have to look, when we read Matthew 24, we have the type and the antitype mixed in together. So we have to be sure and study that out, because again, prophecy, there are lines of prophecy and there's multiple fulfillments. So the primary fulfillment it's talking about in that aforementioned section is actually the times time and half a time of persecution. Was originally supposed to go to 1844. It was cut off in 1798. Then verse 23, then if anyone says to you, look, here is Christ, or there, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show signs and wonders to deceive even the very elect. See, I have told you beforehand. Therefore, if they say to you, look, he's in the desert, do not go. Or look, he's in the other inner rooms. That's spiritualism. Do not believe it. For as a lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For wherever the carcass is, that is the persecution of the saints. There the eagles will be gathered together. And you can see, friends, on the left side, we have the two eagles, and they are gathered together. So again, the mark of the beast is about the battle for your mind. And just one question I want to ask to Seventh-day Adventists: was the final test for Israel, ancient Israel, about literal Sabbath keeping? It's not. It wasn't. And the question here really is not about the day you worship on, but it is about who you worship. And we read about that in Revelation 13:12. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence. This is talking about the lamb-like beast, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast. Again, it's about worship. Luke 4:5, then the devil, taking Jesus up on a high mountain, showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said to him, all this authority I will give you in their glory, for it has been delivered to me. I will give it to whomever I wish. Therefore, if you will worship before me, all this world will be yours. And how did Jesus respond to him? You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only you shall serve. Again, it's about worship. Revelation 4:9, whenever the living creatures give glory and honor and thanks to him who sits on the throne, who lives forever and ever, 24 elders fall down before him who sits on the throne, and they worship him. This is God, the one true God, who lives forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne. So that is the end of this study. So I just want to quickly summarize here. We can see through prophecy the development of this lamb-like beast, that it comes and it assumes the role of antitypical Rome. It makes an allegiance with the Amalgam Beast, and that is what sets up the persecution at the end of time. So I'd pray that you continue to study these things, and please be sure and watch the first study on the Amalgam Beast if you haven't done so already. Blessings to you in the name of Jesus.